What if the most dangerous kind of ignorance is the one that hides behind fake confidence? It doesn't shout, it smiles, nods, pretends to already know, and silently sabotages everything. Today, we're exposing 6 silent signs of stupidity, not to judge others, but to protect yourself from becoming blind to your own flaws. Main rewritten content. There's one thing far worse than being broke, unloved, or unrecognized. It's being foolish. And not even realizing it. Because stupidity doesn't always look like failure. It's not loud. It doesn't wear a warning label. It often hides behind fake confidence, nervous laughter, and the most dangerous phrase of all, "I already know that." It creeps in slowly, not to embarrass you, but to strip away your self-respect, your opportunities, your potential, quietly from the inside out. That's why the Stoics didn't waste their time pointing fingers. They looked in the mirror. They examined themselves. They didn't fear stupidity in others. They feared it in themselves. And today, you're about to do the same. Because recognizing these traits isn't about calling others out. It's about sharpening your own awareness before those same traits sabotage your future. So let's dive into 6 silent signs of stupidity as revealed through the wisdom of Stoic thought. 1. They react before they think. They speak without listening. They lash out before they understand. They act before observing. Impulse becomes their only compass. To them, being loud equals being right. Every reaction is a performance, and the world becomes their audience. But here's what Stoicism teaches. Control your reaction, or it will control your reputation. A wise person pauses. A fool performs, and that performance comes at a high price, respect. Think about it. How many times have you seen someone ruin their credibility with one emotional outburst, one careless comment, one snap judgment? Wisdom is silent, foolishness is noisy, and the moment you let emotions lead the way, you risk becoming a walking contradiction, strong in appearance, weak in principle. So the next time you feel that urge to react, ask, am I responding or simply exploding? 2. They reject every perspective but their own, try to help them grow, and they interrupt. Try to show a new path, they mock it. Challenge their thinking, and you become the enemy. Why? Because to them, being right is more important than being wise. They don't listen to understand, they listen to reload. They wait for their turn to speak, not their chance to grow. But the Stoics believed, wisdom begins where pride ends, and pride is the prison of the foolish. They live inside a fragile echo chamber, bouncing their opinions off the walls they built themselves. No outside ideas, no room for growth. But when that bubble finally pops, they don't evolve, they collapse. And that collapse leads to the next dangerous trait. 3. They blame everyone except themselves. When life falls apart, it's never their fault. They fail, it was their boss. They lose money, it was the system. Their relationships crash, it was their childhood, their ex, the economy, anything but them. But here's the uncomfortable truth. As long as you blame others, you can't change yourself. And if you can't change yourself, you're choosing to stay stuck. Epictetus once said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." And that's exactly what blame does. It tricks you into thinking you've learned, when in reality you've just avoided responsibility. The foolish make blame a full-time job. But the wise? They ask a better question. What part of this is my fault? Because the moment you accept even 1% of responsibility, you reclaim 100% of your power to change. But what happens when blame doesn't work anymore? That's when the foolish reach for their next weapon. Before, we saw how the foolish blame others and deny growth. But when denial no longer protects, they overestimate their intelligence. This is where the damage intensifies. Low skill, high confidence. It's the perfect storm, a silent disaster just waiting to happen. Seneca captured it perfectly when he said, "A wise man knows he is ignorant, but stupidity wears a mask of arrogance, and behind that mask, insecurity." It's not the person who knows little that's dangerous. It's the one who thinks they know everything. They don't ask questions. They don't seek clarity. They assume. They posture. They walk into every room acting like the smartest person there. But underneath that confident exterior is something fragile, unstable. A mind so afraid of appearing weak it refuses to grow strong. Why learn when you can pretend you already know? This is the Dunning-Kruger effect in action, a cognitive illusion where incompetence breeds overconfidence. And the truly dangerous part? They don't see it. But when insecurity simmers beneath the surface, it doesn't stay hidden forever. It starts to seep out through sarcasm, defensiveness, mockery, and that leads us to the final and ugliest trait of all. 5. They tear others down to feel taller. When they see someone succeed, their first instinct isn't to applaud. It's to question, to attack, to whisper, "Why not me?" To ask, "What did they do to deserve that?" Instead of learning from success, they resent it. Instead of seeking inspiration, they spread gossip. Instead of building their own foundation, they try to shatter someone else's. Why? Because comparison exposes the truth, and deep down they know they've wasted time, ignored growth, blamed others, and now they're left watching others rise while they remain stuck. The Stoics taught us something powerful here. Admire excellence. Be inspired by others, not bitter toward them. But the foolish? They fear comparison like a mirror, because it reflects everything they've refused to face. So what do you do when you're surrounded by people like that? You stop trying to convince them. You stop fighting them. You start protecting your energy. Because if you don't own your mind, the world will. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. And here's where this lesson turns inward. You've probably recognized some of these signs in other people. But if you're brutally honest, you've seen hints of them in yourself too. That's not shameful. That's awareness. And that awareness? It's a gift. Because the dumbest thing we can do is assume we're already smart enough. The ancient Stoics never claimed to be perfect. They didn't chase flawless virtue. They pursued one thing, mastery over the self. That mastery doesn't come from comfort. It comes from facing the uncomfortable, from choosing humility over pride, growth over ego, truth over convenience. You're not here because you want to feel superior. You're here because you're building something deeper. Discipline, self-control, wisdom, the kind of strength that whispers instead of shouts, that stands steady in chaos, that no one, not even your critics, can take from you. And if you're on that path, you're already ahead of most. You're awake. You're aware. And that awareness is the beginning of transformation. So if something in this message struck a nerve, good. It means the mirror is working. Now don't let the clarity fade. Hit that like button if you're choosing growth, not for the algorithm, but for yourself. Share this with someone who needs the wake-up call, not to shame them, but to sharpen them. And if this kind of wisdom speaks to you, subscribe to the Stoic Art of Living, because in a world full of noise, we're building a quiet revolution. A tribe of grounded thinkers, of silent warriors, who rise with character, clarity and calm until